Welcome to Travel Nation. Today, we're not bringing you to a tropical paradise or a hidden mountain village. Instead, we're taking you to the front lines of a fast-moving crisis, one that could alter the course of global stability, energy markets, international travel, and history itself. This is the unfolding confrontation between the United States and Iran, and the world is watching. In June 2025, tensions in the Middle East exploded into open conflict. What began as a series of Israeli airstrikes on Iranian nuclear infrastructure quickly escalated into something far more dangerous. President Donald Trump confirmed that the United States had joined the campaign, launching direct military strikes on three of Iran's most guarded nuclear sites: Natanz, Fordow, and Isfahan. These are not just names on a map. These facilities are at the heart of Iran's nuclear program, buried deep underground, fortified, and heavily protected. In order to hit them, the U.S. deployed B-2 stealth bombers, equipped with massive ordnance penetrators, massive bombs designed to breach deep into the earth and destroy hardened targets. This wasn't just a military decision. It was a message to Iran, to Israel, to allies, and to adversaries. The United States had entered the conflict. And in doing so, it transformed what had been a regional standoff into a potential global flashpoint. So, what's at stake? First and foremost, global security. Iran has vowed retaliation. Its Revolutionary Guard warned that any continued attacks by the U.S. would result in strikes against American military bases in the Persian Gulf and beyond. Iran's Houthi allies in Yemen have already begun threatening international shipping routes, especially those in the Red Sea and Arabian Sea. The Strait of Hormuz, which carries nearly 20% of the world's oil, is now under a growing cloud of instability. Oil prices surged immediately. Airlines canceled or rerouted flights. Commercial and cargo vessels started avoiding the Gulf region. Global logistics, the silent engine of modern life, has been thrown into uncertainty. For travelers, the effects are already real. The U.S. State Department issued Level 4, Do Not Travel, advisories for Iran, Iraq, and Lebanon. Special charter flights have been evacuating American citizens from Israel and the West Bank, redirecting them to Athens and other European cities. International carriers, including Qatar Airways, Emirates, and Lufthansa, are rerouting flights to avoid Iranian airspace. Some are suspending routes entirely. And this raises a critical question for anyone with plans to travel internationally, especially through or near the Middle East. How do you plan for safety in a volatile world? How do you stay informed, and what's the responsibility of governments, airlines, and media in keeping travelers safe? Behind this military confrontation lies a longer story, a decade-spanning conflict over Iran's nuclear ambitions. The 2015 Iran nuclear deal, formerly known as the JCPOA, sought to limit Iran's ability to enrich uranium in exchange for relief from economic sanctions. But in 2018, President Trump withdrew the U.S. from the deal, citing concerns over Iranian compliance and regional aggression. Iran, in turn, ramped up its nuclear activity. By 2024, intelligence reports suggested Iran was just months away from producing weapons-grade uranium. For Israel, a nation that views a nuclear Iran as an existential threat, that was a red line. And for many observers, this war was not a surprise, it was a question of when, not if. Now, that moment has arrived. The Israeli airstrikes that began this June were fast, precise, and devastating. But they were just the beginning. The entry of the United States has taken the conflict to an entirely new level. And the consequences are rippling across borders, economies, and lives. Diplomacy, meanwhile, is struggling to catch up. European powers have rushed to Geneva, urging Iran to halt uranium enrichment and return to negotiations. Iran's leadership has refused, stating that with its nuclear sites bombed and sovereignty violated, diplomacy is no longer on the table. Russia and China have condemned the U.S. actions but have stopped short of offering Iran full support, choosing instead to leverage the situation for their own geopolitical influence. But beyond the headlines and airstrikes, there's a deeper story. One about the fragility of peace, the cost of unresolved conflict, and the human impact of decisions made in war rooms and presidential palaces. For the millions who live in the region, and for those who travel through it, the stakes are real. Travel Nation has always been about exploring the world, about understanding cultures, landscapes, and the ties that bind us. But sometimes, the story of travel is interrupted by the story of war. And in those moments, we must pause, reflect, and ask ourselves, what kind of world do we want to move through? One ruled by fear and retaliation? Or one shaped by cooperation, dialogue, and understanding? As we continue to monitor developments between the US, Iran, and the broader Middle East, one thing is clear. The decisions made in the coming days will shape not just borders and governments, but the freedom and safety with which we all move across this planet. Stay informed. Stay safe. And as always, this is Travel.